humility to respect your human nature and build in systems and processes to counteract it. What has been most pivotal for you, Shawn, in terms of keeping you on track?
Do I have everything I want in life? The answer is no. And it's because of my limiting fucking beliefs that I battle on an everyday basis. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fit enough.
You know, one of the best things about getting close to people that you admire that are at the top of the food chain, as I would always like to say, but you realize like they all have those same imposter thoughts that are just trying to destroy them. And the other thing I realize is every single person that's doing what you want to do with your life, they all have a small little boy or little girl trapped inside them, and they hold your best fears and their worst fears. And there's two types of people. There's the people that either leverage it, or there's people that use it against them and it holds them back. We jumped in a little early. We just started talking. We didn't even follow the rules here, but we got Shawn French here, dear friend. We just had an incredible conversation this weekend on his podcast, The Determined Society. We went to death and how death really can connect us to like our greater selves all through life. We talked about things I've never talked about before. So I had such a compelling conversation. We wanted to like carry it over into this podcast. I think that was really my instinct. Say, hey, can we do this quick right now while the iron was hot? I'd love to re-explore some of those topics, but really give you the floor, because there was so much more there, and I would love for our audience to sort of get a glimpse of like the heart and soul of that conversation between a couple great dudes here. But anyway, so Man on a Mission, I'll just give you a quick rundown. We do this because this is our way of fighting back. We recognize that like in order for you to go high in life, you got to really own your lows. Matt talks about that a lot. He's big on that subject, and I really love that the direction of our show really takes you from the depths of hell, and we create the story that finds momentum out of that hell and really takes you to what your mission in life is, the greater mission. If you were going to die tomorrow, like, did you do anything worthwhile? What did you leave on this planet? What fucking marks are left with your name on it? We want to challenge people to do that through sharing other people's stories. So that's sort of the heart and really broad spirit of the show. We could take this anywhere you want, brother. There's really no rules or format, but we like to start in hell and work towards the mission. And I think we started talking about mission and then a little bit of strategy around the mission of communication, about output, about being a creator in this world. I look at, and I'll start maybe this podcast with this thought. When I look at the greatest people that have ever lived on the planet, there's one undeniable thing that they all have in common. They are all creators. They are all putting out something. They're all entertaining. They're putting out their talents and services. And then there's a whole other class of people. I would say it's the 99%, maybe the 98%. These are the consumers of the world. So you have two choices. You can either be a creator or you can be a consumer. And you have to choose to be a creator. You have to really put yourself out there. And there's a whole bunch of forces in the world that make that very challenging, make it very scary. Number one is what the perception of what people think. So you're a creator, man. We're on this podcast now. I'm just gonna hand it over to you, man. Like the depths of hell is where we'd like you to start, but like, why don't you just give us the 1, 2, 3, man, of really where you're at and how you got here.
Ah, shit, man. So first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm jacked. It's an honor to be on Man on a Mission. Man, the depths of hell. Where do I start? Yeah. I mean, that's really the thing, right? Because you can pick out multiple times in your life that you feel that you're in hell, but it's a different version of you. And like you spoke about on my show, but I'll start from the very beginning. You know, I grew up in Concord, California, born in Walnut Creek at John Muir Hospital. And, you know, unbeknownst to me, my father left when I was 2. I brutally beat the shit out of my mom to a point where she was in the hospital, and I think it was like life threatening at one point. Left, they get a divorce, and so I'm being raised by my mom and my grandma, which, you know, you remember from my show, died of pancreatic cancer. But my best friend was like my mom. My mom would, you know, be working constantly, but then she also prioritized partying early on in her life. So I was really at my grandma's a lot, which I thought was great because it was the most positive atmosphere I could be in at that moment. And so my dad left, and I didn't know any better. And then started coming around like when I was 5 or 6 or something like that. And all I remember was him talking about women in a sexual way, and it made me very uncomfortable. In addition, he would always pop these little moles on my nose. I have one still here, and he would hold me down and pop them, and just like I was never good enough, man. Like I was never going to be good at baseball because I couldn't hit a baseball at the time, and you know I was young. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And the reality was I couldn't hit a baseball because I was worried about judgment, because I was worried about who the fuck I was with. I didn't feel safe, right? And I think as young men and young girls growing up, you need to feel safe in order for you to be 100% who you are, right? And so it was, you're not good enough. You know, you have this wrong with your face. Let me hold you down and pop it. And then right around when I was 7, I believe, or 8, my mom met who would be my stepdad. And, you know, he was in the Navy. He was introduced to my mom by a mutual friend that was also on the same ship as him. And, you know, loved him. You know, he came in, he was a father figure. I was dying for a man figure because my only male figure was my uncle, whom I'm going to see next week back home in Cali. But that's like, that was it. And he was off doing his thing because he was in college, you know, playing professional baseball, doing all that shit. And he wasn't around all the time. So I was really excited to have this male in my life. And the early examples, you know, set were, I remember a lot of drinking, a lot of partying at the house. You know, at one point, I mean, I remember being in my room, my little blow up Indian tent, and just this apartment going fucking nuts, man. You know, it was just a lot of, I mean, quite honestly, sailors in the house, this small ass apartment in the fucking ghetto. And, you know, as I grew, I grew better and better at baseball. And, you know, my stepdad, he always supported me in baseball. He made sure I had everything. He made sure I had the equipment, all the private lessons. But the one thing that sticks out is simply this: another man telling me I'm not good enough. If you don't succeed at baseball, you are fucked because you do not have any skills with your hands. You don't have anything else you could do well. So if you don't play baseball in the major leagues, like, you're going to be worthless. At least that's what I heard, right? That's how I took it. So my whole life and where I'm at right now can really point to, do I have everything I want in life? The answer is no. And it's because of my limiting fucking beliefs that I battle on an everyday basis. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fit enough. I'm not, you know, good looking enough. I don't have enough money to do what I want. I battle that shit. That is my fucking hell.
Everyone does. I don't know. Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone that doesn't? You know, one of the best things about getting close to people that you admire that are at the top of the food chain, as I always like to say, is when you start getting into their worlds. And this is why, like, it's important to have, like, really mentorship in high places, because it gives you an inside look under the hood. But you realize, like, they all have those same imposter thoughts that are just trying to destroy them. And the other thing I realize is every single person that's doing what you want to do with your life, they all have a small little boy or little girl trapped inside them, and they hold your best fears and their worst fears. And there's two types of people. There's the people that either leverage it, or there's people that ever use it against them, and it holds them back. It doesn't propel them forward, but it's actually rare that people use it as leverage, even if it's chips on the shoulder. But very little people I've found that have really done something amazing with their life don't have trauma in their childhoods. There's always so much there. And I love this topic because we could spend a whole hour on this. I love talking about, like, how you turn pain into progress.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, you know, I heard all that and I still hear it. Right. In fact, the last time I spoke to my dad, I mean, he's still living. We just don't speak anymore because it got to a point where it was so toxic, you know, that I just couldn't do it anymore. You know, it was, how's that little podcast going?
Yeah.
Anybody listening to that? And I'm just like, you know what?
I get it.
This is resonating too much with me. And for one, I can't have it around my kids. Right. And so like David Meltzer says, you got to know what feeds you and what bleeds you. Yeah, exactly. Right. And he wasn't feeding me at all. So I'm like, fuck it, cut bait, I'm done. And for me, how I leverage this pain, this trauma, is by doing this, is telling people and showing people descriptively what I've gone through, because I want them to know, for that person that's going to listen to this, if it just helps one person, it was worth it. You know, if an 18-year-old hears this show and we're like, wow, this guy has that many limiting beliefs, and he played at the #1 baseball school in the fucking United States of America, went to a College World Series.
LSU?
LSU. Yeah, see? So, I mean, like, it can still be done, but you have to leverage your story in the right way. And I love how you said that. Leverage your story and turning your pain into progress. Yeah. And that's what it is. So it starts with a chip, but it has to be much more than that.
It does. It gets there. You got to start with something to create the momentum. And I think the pain is the best momentum starter there is. But unfortunately, I think majority of people actually use it and it lets them hold them back. I got a cool story. I won't say it here, but about my grandma who really opened up my mind to like what her reality is at 83. My other grandma who's still alive with us today, thank God. But she told me a story basically that, she could have been somebody. And this is her 83-year self reflecting. And like, she is someone to me. But like for her mindset to have that kind of regret and to like really trace the dots, she traced it right to her 11-year-old self. And it's a beautiful story. And now it's a story that could help other people, but it's so true what you say. And I think everyone out there can resonate with this 100%.
I would say,
yeah,
I think it's a question of dominance. It'd be interesting, Shawn, if you align with this. It's like when those limiting beliefs, those fears, they are you. Like at one point early on, they're your identity. They're exactly how the world occurs to you.
Exactly.
And I think people who transcend them, it's not that they don't experience those, but they kind of almost withdraw it all, like a witness observer in the mind. They're aware, they're present, but like there's another option of choice. Like despite this,
exactly,
I'm going to hold in mind this vision.
Yeah. They're not born this way.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to overcome it.
Oh yeah, no, I think. Yeah, I think it's really a function of what's at the helm. It's not that they go away entirely. Yeah. Oftentimes they do. I mean, we could all think of things that we worried about at 18, at 25. We just don't worry about it anymore. We're not insecure about.
Right.
But what helped you get out of the identification with those things as who you are? What sparked a space within yourself to cast a higher vision?
Yeah, I'm sure baseball had something to do with it, right?
It was the physical and emotional pain. I mean, it's really what it was. Like I felt pain being so out of shape, right? And I'm still working on that, right? I'm still working my ass off, cleaning up my nutrition daily. But then also the pain of not succeeding to the point I wanted to at LSU, that I was capable of, drives me forward today, because it's like, at the end of this, I can't bear the thought of not succeeding at this. So it's that pain that drives me. I don't want to feel it again. I don't want people to say, well, you almost did it. Yeah. It's like, no. Fuck that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be on big stages with my boy Eric.
Fuck yeah.
In about a year. I'm going to be doing events with Eric. We're going to light the fucking world up. It is what it is, and there's no fucking stopping it. Like, that's the pain that drives me.
Can I tell you a quick story? Can I slip this in before?
Yeah.
So, okay, and this is no disrespect to this person, but it's a good story. So we lined up 4 podcasts today. You're one of 4, okay? So we got a busy day schedule. These are important. We put a lot of time and love in this. We already had someone fall out, and it was like perfect that you picked right into that spot. But I get a text late last night. I'm dead asleep by the time this text come in. But hey, I can't make that podcast today, but I could do 3:30. Like, no, it's like, okay, but the person, you always got to consider who's the person that's rearranging like your schedule based on their needs. And it's someone that has started a company that's now worth $3 billion. He's been an advisor on some of the biggest companies in the world. He's had, 50 different startups. Like, we're not talking about your average human here. And for his time, so it's incredibly limited. Now, I could have taken this one of 2 ways, but we literally will move heaven and earth to slide that person in. But I just texted him back. I said, hey, no problem. Come hell or high water, we're going to find a way to make this way to work. Even though I didn't see a path at first. I didn't know how we were going to accommodate it. Time is time, and I can't double myself or double the studio space. But we did find a way, by the way. But to my point, I texted back. I said, hey, man, no worries. I'm so thankful you're doing this. I'm always appreciative and loving on the person. And I do admire this person. I would consider him a friend, thank God. And I'm lucky to have these type of relationships. But I said, if you're ever in a bind, brother, I'm here for you. I know you got a podcast that you do. If you ever have someone that falls out and you need someone to slide in, let me know. You know what he texted me back? He said, Eric, no offense, I love you, brother, but I only interview people like Tiger Woods and Mike Tyson and Mark Wahlberg, people at the top, but no offense. And my instinct was not to be offended at all. I actually just smiled, kind of grinned, and I couldn't help. I text right fucking back. I said, one day, brother, you just wait. Because in my mind, it's like, this is what I need. That actually is fuel to me. And I said, you caught me before my stock value was high, but just fucking wait. And I will be back soon. And I did not take offense to it, but I see myself right now as a best in class. I'm not there yet. I see that farthest version of who I can become. And it's on the biggest stages in the world. Now, everyone, if you think about the greatest version of yourself, it's some sort of stage, whether it's in the World Series, You know what I mean? Bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
Like whatever stage it is, there's a stage at every level, at every profession. Doesn't matter if you're an artist, doesn't matter if you're in business, doesn't matter where it is. It's some sort of stage where you are fully in the fucking light to be the best version of yourself. And for someone to tell you, I don't do podcasts with people like you. I only do the best. Sorry. No. And I get it, man. Like that's his brand. That's his worth. But one day, motherfucker, you watch me and watch me. Like now I'm saying it to the world, and it puts so much fucking pressure on my shoulders to be the fucking thing, because now I have the burden of being all talk and no actions. But the first things, you have to see it long before it ever turns into money. You got to feel it. You got to smell it. You got to breathe it, live it, eat it, sleep it long before it ever happens. So I love that you spoke to this. I think this will resonate with a lot of people, is that it's not that they achieve goals or have goals and don't achieve them. It's that they achieve goals, but their goals are so small and they get satisfied and they stop. They don't see the farthest version of what could be possible, all limiting beliefs.
Yeah. Well, the biggest problem, there's two things I want to address here. The first one is what you just addressed. They stop. They get satisfied. Well, because they have finish lines.
Right. Exactly.
If you have a fucking finish line, like you're fucked. Like I do not believe in finish lines. That's the thing. And it drives my wife crazy. It drives her crazy. Like, can you just celebrate something? I'm like, why? I understand I do need to celebrate more wins. I move on too fucking quickly. I literally can get a big 5-figure sponsorship, deposit the check. I'm like, fuck, what's next? Because I'm never satisfied, and it's okay. Like Ben Newman always says, never be seduced by success.
Yeah. And my mentor, Ed Milet, says, be blissfully dissatisfied. And I like to try to carry that approach, because you're right. The instinct of okay, what's next? Like once you taste the thing, and that's why sooner or later material shit has no bearing on you. We are not after material things, because at some point it all feels the fucking same. You have to be after impact and leaving a mark that's really fucking something that's really truly fulfilling. And those untangible things that are really elusive, that's where the gold's at, and that's where the real money's at, because at some point the dollar's just a way to keep score. It really doesn't have any effect anymore. So you're after a whole new type of landscape.
Yeah. The other thing, first of all, I fucking love you, dude. Like, this is incredible. Like, I love talking to you. The other thing, you're talking about this dude that said, no offense, Eric, but I only interview, Tiger Woods and Pamela Anderson and all that kind of shit. It's simply this. Andy Frisella once said, everybody is nobody until there's somebody.
100%. So good.
And they laughed at him when he started. They said, what are you, Tony Robbins? He's one of the biggest motherfuckers on the planet now.
Exactly.
I mean, dude. And so one day because I've had plenty of people say, hey, Shawn, no offense, bro, you're not ready.
Yeah.
But when I am ready, you
Shawn,
ain't getting me.
What are you aiming at?
What am I aiming? Like as far as how do I want to model my business, or how,
Like
what kind of impact?
The spirit of Eric's talking about like the highest vision for one's life, like far beyond a fishing line. Like I'll give you an example. I was just telling to Eric earlier before the show, I just read a quip by an up-and-comer in the UFC. He was an NCAA champion in wrestling, Bo Nickel, incredible wrestler. Mm-hmm. I know him more as a wrestler than the UFC. But someone asked him what he's looking forward to in his next fight. He's like, all I think about is how I can make my 10th title defense. So like good. He's not even thinking about his next fight. Like it's not even how he's oriented. Mm-hmm. So like a 2-part question, like in the spirit of what Eric's saying, what is your highest aim for yourself, and what's the inspiration behind it? How would you characterize that today?
The highest aim for me would be impacting billions of people like Tony Robbins. Yeah. And here's why. Because I understand how much it hurts to be stuck in your own shit. I don't want that for anybody. And if I could help billions of people, if I could be that one person that they can just tune into once a week or come watch me speak and be fulfilled and help fill their cup up because they can feel my honesty, they can feel my authenticity, that's what I'm aiming for.
Yes. So I would say this, if you're not trying to be the number one at something, if you're not trying to be the best in class, then what a fucking wasted life. Like, why wouldn't you? What are you going to do? Like, why wouldn't you try to be the best at what you do? Like the number one in the fucking world. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't your aim be so high? Like, what a fun game that we get to play. Like, you guys, we get to play this game. This is a gift. Why not play it at the highest level? Like, it all feels the same, but people play such small games. And in fact, most people don't realize that they're actually playing a game. They let life happen to them instead of for them. And they really never can get momentum or trajectory in their life because they're missing this key point. Now, I'm convinced this society would be a better place if more people were going after their dreams. And they don't teach just it in schools. Like, let me just get right down to the really raw point of what's behind our Man on a Mission is they are attacking innocence on purpose. Evil is fucking winning and is powerful. And so guys like you, Shawn, have to stand the fuck up. There's got to be a lot of Shawn Frenches around the world that believe the impossible. Eric Rock's around the world. Matt Laughlin's around the world. Colton's around the world. There's got to be people that are fucking moving because this is our way of fighting back. And this is how we overpower the system that is set up to destroy freedom. It's set up to destroy capitalism. And we talked about this on Saturday on your podcast. Anywhere there's evil, there should be light. And unfortunately, that evil is more and more powerful. Why? Because it's overtaken the institutions that control young mindsets. This is an obligation now. This is no longer about dreams. Like, this is your fucking duty to become the best fucking version of yourself. And if you're a parent out there, how many fucking parents are out there are living lies? They're running fucking rackets and the kids are watching everything you're fucking doing. I challenge you every day. If you're not fucking disciplined and you can't do the small shit right, like, how the fuck are you going to have any dreams that manifest into anything worthwhile? And so you are a great representation of everything that I'm talking about, high fucking aims. And that becomes a lot of discipline, and it means doing the small things when no one's fucking looking. The small details, the details that matter most.
Yep. And dude, and it's like, and to your point, like, and I want to go back to wherever there's evil, there's light. I was at a funeral yesterday for one of my former baseball players that died tragically a little over a week ago. He's 20 years old, and it's been the roughest week. A lot of highs, a lot of lows, and yeah, man. And you know, I appreciate that. And I remember over the last week, it didn't really hit me. I never processed it. And even yesterday, I'm sitting there and I'm you know, there was a viewing and I'm there and it's just not connecting yet, right? It hasn't broken me. And eventually it did. And yesterday, hour by hour, it got worse and worse. The grief, the pain, the sorrow, the sadness. But then I remembered. The pastor said in the middle of the service, he said, wherever there's a shadow, there's light. Yes. And that message came to me through you and through that pastor in 2 consecutive days. And I sat there and as I paid my final respects, this handsome young man, his smile lit up every single corner of a room. He was different. You know, he's playing for God's team now, but I went at, you know, and I kissed my finger and I touched his hand. I said, bro, I'm never going to let you down. And he was the first person that found out when I had this Determined Society. It was before it was even a real podcast. He goes, hey man, hey coach, you got any fucking merch? I was like, bro, I just had some shirts made. He goes, bet. How much?
Yes.
I'm like, free. He goes like, no, man, $20. I'm like, yeah, man, $20. That's awesome. He was the first kid, first person to buy a shirt.
Amazing.
And, you know,
that's
to the point of it motivated me. It drove me even further to a point where I got to do something for these kids in the local community.
Obligation.
Because exactly.
Hey, Matt, real quick, will you do this? Let's just do this right now. I feel very compelled by your story, Shawn. And like, I love always looking at Matt to like just put a prayer into the universe. He just always does this in the most bizarre times and in the times that make sense. But it just seems sense to me. Like, just put a prayer out there, man. Like, bless this show, bless Shawn, bless his family.
Sure.
There's a lot of value here.
What's that young man's name, Shawn?
Evan Ames.
Evan Ames. Lord, we pray for Evan Ames' family and everyone dear to him. We give thanks that he touched Shawn's life. And we give thanks that the pain and the suffering that we feel, by some grace, through Shawn and others, through Eric and whoever may be listening, will choose rather to wallow in that or to linger in that, but to sanctify it and seek to help other people.
Yes, turn it into
Give
power.
us the courage to turn our pain and our suffering into an inspiration to serve others. And we just pray that this young man's family is comforted in their grief for their loss, And we give thanks for the opportunity to recalibrate our own lives to pursue your will in everything. Amen.
Yes, amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm grateful you asked me that, Eric, because the thing I'm really present to listening to you guys talk about these juxtapositions is how that suffering is so motivating. Like I just saw Sound of Freedom in the theater this weekend, and it just wrecked me. And
Yeah, me too.
But it was a friend of mine asked, like, what was your experience of it? And here's what I just wanted to put on the table to you and Eric, Shawn. I was so wrecked by it, but it simultaneously like evoked something in my heart. Like I'll die for innocence. Like
Yes.
it evoked this willingness in my heart. I'll do whatever the fuck it takes. And like of course the movie's profound, and I encourage anyone to see it. But I was so grateful for it because Eric and I have been talking about the Man on the Mission podcast and our coaching brand, really very tangibly supporting and standing for innocence. Yeah. And it evokes like a warrior quality in your heart as a man to touch into that pain. So Shawn, like how you've touched on, I really hear what you're aspiring to do is to reduce suffering, like your compassion for it. You must have, I don't know your full personal story, but you must have hit some lows, man, to be even motivated to take that on.
You know, I can't deny that. It's all started with the baseball journey, right? You get to a point where you feel you're going to be so successful, and then you have a blood clot, then you blow your shoulder out, and you feel alienated on your own team by your own coaching staff, and to a point where you're at the highest level, and you're stuck. You're out of the equation, and then graduating from that and going into the real world, that Shawn is gone. Involuntarily, that version of Shawn is dead. Like, I didn't choose this. I didn't choose not to be a baseball player. It was painful getting out of college and realize you're not marketable worth a shit. Pepsi wouldn't even hire me to be a route salesman. Like, and I had a contact there. Like, it just, there's a lot of pain and suffering as you leave a situation and into life. And then you start making really bad decisions. I hurt a lot of people. I did a lot of dumb shit, trying to fill that gaping hole in my soul.
Yeah, too.
Some people call it a void, and at the time, like my friends at that, you have some type of void in you. And I'm like, you condescending fucks, fuck you. Like, you don't know shit. You don't know what I've been through. You all your parents, they fucking support you. They buy you shit. You got your first house because your mommy gave you a fucking down payment. Fuck you. You don't know anything. Right. And to this day, I still think they don't. Right. But they were right. I had a void. Okay. That part they were right at. And I just didn't understand it at the time. But yeah, man, I mean, a lot of pain, like countless evenings, just scared out of my mind because I didn't know who the fuck I was. Right. And I think that is the most suffering a person can go through, is when you don't know who you are. It's painful. There's a lot of tears. And so for me, Matt, yeah, I want to end suffering for people. I want to help people come out of that, and even just also to be present in their suffering, because truly that is the gift. The suffering aspect of whatever version of yourself you're in right now, that is the moment right before you break the fuck through. And it sucks and it hurts. You don't know when it's going to end, but hold the fuck on.
So good.
Because it's coming.
Yeah. I always say this: if you didn't fucking go through hell, if you didn't bleed, if you didn't tear yourself to shreds, if you didn't fucking earn it, then you don't want it. Like, I don't want anything given to me. Entitlement is a place that I avoid like the fucking plague. And again, I see this mistake made countless places about how entitlement is sort of spread into the mindset of these young people. And it is one of the most destructive forces ever. You've got to teach how to have extreme ownership in your life. You got to teach on. This is why I think entrepreneurship is so crucial, because it teaches you things that can't be stolen. They can't be gifted. They can't be manipulated. You can't fake them. You have to earn them. There's a lot of things that you have to earn. And it's the path, the hard path that teaches you everything. It's where all the gold's at. All that scar tissue, it's your most valuable asset. Like, that's the stuff that matters most. You could take everything I have in my life, but you can't take what's up here. And the value of what's up here had to be fucking earned. I had to walk through the fire myself. That's so hard to gift that away. And if you haven't been through it, it doesn't mean you necessarily can't succeed. But the likelihood, if you look at all the winners in the world, all of them went through fucking hell. I mean, literally 99% of the top 1% of the top 1%, all of them have a rags to riches story that'll blow your fucking mind. These aren't trust fund kids at the top of the food chain. Those are weak fucking souls. And it doesn't mean all of them. Some of them have somehow they caught the right thing. You know what I mean? They somehow caught it, but it is rare as fuck. So if you think this is the beauty of freedom, is that you can start from anywhere in life and turn anything into fucking gold. Like, oh my God, who wouldn't want to? Like, if you're in the slums right now, listen to this. If you're in the fucking ghetto or whatever you think your poor situation is, let me just tell you, you have more ammo and fuel and rocket fuel inside your soul than the asshole who has it going good and everything's paid for. And his life is cush, and his parents are arguing, should we get a Porsche or should we get a McLaren? Like, bleh, you know what I mean? Like, those motherfuckers, like, everyone thinks that's what it is. That's not what it is. Like, I wouldn't want that shit. Goodbye. Like, I don't give a fuck, man. You are going to earn everything. We are going to teach you grittiness. Like, I love how Shaq said, you ain't rich. I'm rich. You ain't rich. And there's a message here. There's a message here, because part of the growth and part of the beauty of life and freedom is once you get the thing, you don't want to forget where you came from. You want to be able to really empower the message. And that's where guys like us come in and really, like, we can show the way. We can be part of the solution, part of the example, but the pain, the silver linings and all the mistakes, like, that's the fucking gold.
Yeah, it sure isn't. And dude, like, to that point, what's heartbreaking for me is when I have someone reach out to me, hey, I'd really like to talk to you about your coaching. I want to spend some time with you. I don't know what you have going on, but let's connect. And so you listen to every pain they have and how they're suffering.
Yes.
But so unwilling to invest in themselves.
I know.
And I made
Right.
and brother, and I made it a point. Yeah, I made it a point. I made it a point because I'm not like some, multi-millionaire out there saying you got to invest in my program. It's $50,000 a year. Right. I'm not saying that yet. I'm saying, like, hey, 3 months for $4,000, you can't fucking do that to save your fucking
100%.
life. Like, dude, like, I'm not, it's not even to a point where, like, quite honestly, for 3 months for $4,000, like, I'm undervaluing what I do.
You are.
Right. But I want this to be an access point for everybody.
Right.
And they are so unwilling.
Yeah.
So unwilling. And, and I pray for them. One of the
biggest pieces of our curriculum, like, I preach this constantly. This pours out of me, and you always, like, where's the gold? Everyone wants to know the secret. What's the secret? You get so much of this stuff, right? And everyone's just seeing dollars. They're seeing a financial freedom piece. There's so much more to it than that. Actually, that's the last piece. You got to fix yourself before you can really think anything. Yeah. But the main point is this, and part of the curriculum that we teach is you have to make the investments. It's the people that make the investments that move fucking mountains. It's the people that are willing to invest, because the trick is this. It's not necessarily me or you. Even though we may be good, and through osmosis, you can learn a lot, you can gain a lot. The accountability factor is worth its weight in gold. That alone is worth $4,000. Even if it was a pig, like literally a little tiny pink pig with fat little legs. If it was holding you accountable, it's worth $4,000 for 3 months. That's fucking a no-brainer.
1,000,000,000%.
Because accountability is not happening in your normal relationships. It's just fucking not. Most relationships pull you back and they hold you down. Just that alone's worth it. But just think about this. It's the money that you put in. Once you invest into anything, anyone that's ever invested in anything, the second you have skin in the game and you have blood in the game, you change how you show up. Now you actually show the fuck up. If you don't put money in, you don't show up. We gave away one scholarship program in our group, and it's the one fucking person that dropped out, that was always late, that couldn't make it, that would show up like 20 minutes into it. And God bless his soul, don't really care, doesn't really bother me, but it's a fact. If he didn't put his fucking money in the game, he has no reason to show up, no matter how good the coaching is. So just get this point in your head. If you want to start winning, just put some of your own hard-earned money in the game and watch how you start showing up. Like from there, we can create a culture of fucking forward momentum. That is where the magic starts, is by first making the investment. It's the first thing you should nail down. Is the second you have $1 in, you're going to get $2 out. I promise you, you're going to do it with or without me now. Cause you just for the sake of putting the money fucking in, how is this message not resonating? People will spend money on the dumbest fucking liabilities that destroy their ability to create any kind of real wealth. Constantly doing that. You see it. They take out fucking debt like you've never seen. I mean, the average American has nearly $100K in bad debt. How fucking stupid are these people? But yet they won't put $1 on themselves. They won't bet on themselves to be around people, get in the right room that will challenge them to show up and really think differently about how money works, how life works, how discipline works, how your health works. Anything, any domain in life should have a coach. I mean, think about this. The Tom Brady's of the world, the Floyd Mayweathers of the world. I mean, if you're 50-0, I mean, and you're the top of the game, like you think, okay, you should be you don't need coaches, right? Because you're so good. You are the coach. No, even the best and the best of the best, they have a coach for every area of their life to see their blind spots, to push them into the uncomfortable, to hold them accountable is the most important piece. But at the end of the day, every best fucking athlete in the world has countless coaches. Why do you think you can go through life and not? Hello?
I mean, like, what makes you so special? Exactly. And you know, and here's the thing, so like, what the fuck, like, let's get over ourselves here, right? Like, if the best of the best of the best have, like, let's take Tiger Woods. Okay, he has a weight coach, he has a nutrition coach, he has a swing coach, he has a psychiatrist, he has, you know, like all these different things.
He has a yoga coach, breathing coach,
yoga coach, reading, a speaking, a PR,
breathing.
Like, breathing. Yeah, like imagine that. It's an involuntary movement,
exactly.
But he still has a fucking coach for it. So if all these high-level individuals have these coaches, what makes us think that we don't need a coach? Because that's ego driven, right?
Exactly.
But here's the other reason. Here's the other reason why people blow, $80 grand on a boat instead of investing in themselves.
So dumb.
Well, here's the, you know why, right?
So fucking dumb.
Because they can't fucking compete with a neighbor.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
They can't compete with a neighbor.
It's fake bullshit, and we've all been.
It's fake bullshit.
We've all been there at some point.
We build a pool, and then all of a sudden, I'm gonna fucking
keeping up with the Joneses.
I built the pool. I built the pool because I have 3 fucking crazy kids. Like, I just want shit to do in the backyard. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, people are building pools, and it's just like, well, how much is your home worth now? It's like, oh my God, you guys don't fucking get it, man. You don't get life. You don't understand it. Like, invest in yourself. And there's always those motherfuckers that are telling you that you're doing too much, because it offends them, because it reminds them that I'm not doing shit with my life. And here's the real rub of it. If you're waking up every day and you're not pushing yourself to somewhat, you wasted a day of your fucking life. Now, those angels that you and I talked about on my show that are watching you are pissed off because you're sitting there with the most valuable asset. It's a day on earth.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that don't get that. Like for I don't even know how many people are going to die today, bro.
Yeah, a lot,
how many? How many? Like,
sad.
Fucking for people listening, look it up. And you're going to sit there and not do shit with your life? Like, you're an asshole.
Agree. I think everything you should do, this is like my perspective on everything. And this is really easy to teach. Once people like start doing it, they get it. Every dollar out should have one singular thought that backs up that dollar spent. And really, and that dollar can also represent your time, your energy. Anything I do, I want an ROI on. The return on that investment, with a time investment, so much of what I do today may actually seem stupid to most people, but they don't realize I'm thinking so deeply about ROI. What can I do today that will save me time tomorrow? Oftentimes that means I'm making massive investments today that people don't understand. I used this example the other day in our coaching group about women. How many hours in a lifetime do women spend shaving their legs? Okay. Well, think about it. I mean, it's countless hours, right? So I'm now down to the point, if I don't want hairy fucking legs, I know it's going to take 6 sessions to kill a hair growth cycle. It's probably, if you're going to just say you do your whole body, it's about $2,000 to go through your entire body per session. If you go to someone really good, like here locally at Sarah Hamilton, little shout out, my girl over there. But I recognize this. I don't want a fucking hairy chest. I don't want fucking mongrel legs. Like, I might make the investment today. And now that's 6 sessions. You got to spread them out over about a month and a half a piece. That is a fucking 6 months of hell. It hurts. It's painful. It's not fun. You're lasering the shit out of your body. It hurts like a motherfucker, by the way, especially in those sensitive areas. But all this pain and investment, it may seem like a lot of money. Now let's just do the math. 6 times, that's $12,000 to $15,000 to have a hairless fucking body. And I'm just using this as an example. But the return on the investment is thousands of hours in a lifetime where I don't have to fucking shave again. My body is smooth like butter. If I need to do a little touch-up shave once in fucking 6 months, you can. But like the return on that investment, the time and money I spent today, is because I'm always thinking about the time and tomorrow that I'm going to save. Most people don't do that. They blindly fucking spend. They put no thought into anything. They're just literally just pigs that go through life just reacting to everything, not controlling the dollar. ROI is everything. And this is just a simple concept. I won't spend fucking money I don't have. I will not spend money that does not give me something back that makes sense. And really, first you have to build a financial profile and a foundation that would justify a boat. And most people do it the wrong fucking way. And we've all been victim to it. Like no one comes up immune to this whole keeping up with the Joneses concept. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason that like the powerful company in the world is Louis Vuitton. I mean, I think that's like, they go back and forth between Elon Musk and that dude that's the highest net worth person. It's because these people understand brand and the power of this whole concept of the fear of missing out, the keeping up with the Joneses. Like all that shit is so crucial in American society and beyond. Like freedom sets the tone and capitalism sets the tone for a lot of excess that actually is the things that keep the rich getting richer, and these motherfuckers are laughing all the way to the bank as you consume your fucking life away. This is where I challenge you. Be a fucking creator. Be someone that thinks about ROI. Do things today that will save you time tomorrow. Like, this is the well-rounded nature of what coaching will bring you. But people that don't get in this game once a fucking week for the rest of their lives, by the way, there's no end game to this. I look at coaching as a cost of doing business. I will invest in it till I die. And it's gotten me in some of the most unique rooms with the most unique relationships. And it's given me a look under the hood that I would have never fucking gotten. And now I want to provide that value to people underneath me. And I challenge you to do the same.
I just keep thinking through this whole thing. You said so many great things, but I keep thinking of you like that hairless cat on Austin Powers, Dr. Evil's hairless cat.
That's awesome.
Gotta throw a little humor in there too.
100%. This can't be so intense.
Yeah. I mean, God, people's heads are gonna fucking explode. Yeah. Could you imagine us on stage together?
Fuck 'em, let's go.
Bro, it's gonna be like one of those warnings, like
I'm coming
like
for
if
you.
you go into like laser, like this could cause seizures. Like Eric Rock and Shawn French can cause a serious seizure if you listen to him in person.
Can I say one more thing? I want to say one more thing because I think it's so good where my mind's at. This happened this morning. I'm getting on a plane this morning early, and I had some downtime, and I'm in the fucking the FBO, fucking around on my phone. And I was really weak this morning, meaning it's really early in the morning. I'm tired. I'm just like, I have so much shit to do. It's going to be a busy day. But I'm looking at, I end up stumbling upon this profile that I don't follow. It's this guy that sells the cars to the richest people in the world. He's got a coaching program. I'm going through his content is fucking insane. Like, you want to talk about the most dialed in, luxurious content ever. I mean, that's a $2.8 million Maybach. Like all this shit, that's a 101 car. That's a 1 of 50 car. But how he ties whatever his core business was into his branding and then onto the relationships of the wealthy. And I'm just thinking there, listening to this guy as I scroll his page, being a consumer in that moment, thinking, oh man, I could never do that. Like all these things is like that shrunk version of Eric Rock that's not here right now. I need the gym to sort of get me out of my own way. I need systems and processes to silence that voice that thinks that everyone else, as I compare my life to theirs, there's no way I could ever rise to that level, because he said a lot of things that were so compelling to me. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Like this whole concept of being a fucking pit bull in the world, just attacking life at every level, from Miami to LA, baby. He's everywhere. He's with every fucking person at the top of the game. He talked about building your office. He goes, your fucking office should be a billionaire's office. It should look so fucking amazing. Like he's thinking so far beyond the average. He goes, you should not have a pisshole office in some cracky little neighborhood. Like if you're gonna do it fucking big. Like you need to show up, have a fucking presence. And I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, my office is so small. You know what I mean? Like he's challenging me to think bigger, do different. Like how do you connect to the wealthiest people in the world? How do you show up in the world? You can't have cracky little offices. But the point is like everyone feels small. And you're comparing your life to someone else's constantly. And I know we all do it. How do you get out of your own way so that you can become the best version of yourself every fucking day of the week? And hopefully that does compound. I'm here to tell you it does. But like even me, I do it all the fucking time. And right now, I'll stand toe to toe. You said go on the stage with Eric Rock. I'm at like, all these people, I can never do what they do. I'm all weak, right? I'll stand toe to toe with anybody. Put me on the stage with Ed Milet. Put me on with Tony Robbins. Put me on with that guy with all the fucking super yachts and shit and all the helicopters, whatever. Like I'll stand toe to toe with him. I know I fucking will. Like I have so much juice and so much value to give to the world. But I had to create this. It's not fucking born. 5 hours ago, I was a weak little pissant version. It took endorphins to pull me out of my own the fuck away, to stand tall, and it took you to tell me, Eric, I need to be on stage with you, brother. Let's go.
That's the thing. That's what people don't understand. Like, I haven't had my workout yet today. And my switch is like half on, half off.
Yeah.
Like, this is me half baked, and I'm still.
Me too. I get this.
I'm still fucking higher than most people.
You are.
The bottom line is, like, if you cannot do the things with yourself that you know you need to do on a day-to-day fucking basis, you don't deserve to be on the fucking stage.
Yes.
And I don't even give a fuck. I'm not even talking about a stage that you and I are going to be on together. I'm talking about the fucking stage in your life. Like, own your fucking day. Like,
own it.
Like, think about it, man. Like, you have an open landscape to have the perception that you want, that you feel that you need to have on the world. You can make impact. You can smile at somebody. You're having a shitty fucking day. Go give somebody a smile.
Yes.
Ask them how they're doing. Like, how hard is that?
Love on people.
Dude, that'll change your frequency quicker than you can
So
blink an eye. Just like, really, just think about it. Go out there and make an impact. It should be impact over income, period.
Yes.
And if you can't make an impact every day, if you can't make some sort of like push in someone's life, then you aren't living.
Shawn, when you do coach people, what do you? I love this whole idea of once you invest, something sparks within yourself. Like, so when I coach people, and this is a question for you as a coach to put on your coach hat. The moment people commit to the coaching, they just feel different.
Yeah.
We see Eric and I see this in our groups, or you could see it in the conversation just to explore whether it makes sense to work with someone. And the moment they're like, I'm in, you just feel the brightness and the raw material that you're dealing with. So phase 2 is the coaching. What have you noticed, at least in your own style and the way you work with people, what really shifts things for people?
I'm sorry, repeat the last part of that question.
When you're coaching with people, they've invested, they're all in on the process.
Yeah.
What have you noticed is like a critical pivot point? What shifts things for people? Like, what is it? Every coach has their sort of angle and talent and the way they work with people. You elaborated, 4K, 3 months, why wouldn't they? When you do have a client dive in with you, is there a pattern you notice? Like, what's a powerful point?
Yeah, man. I noticed like right away they're super fired the fuck up. Like, they want to get after it. They want to know what they can do, how quickly they can get there, and they want to take that whole elephant and shove it in their fucking mouth right away. And that's the way it is at the beginning. But then what you notice is once that excitement wears off and you're really holding them accountable and they realize I'm not doing the fucking work. It's work. That's just what it is. So you see somebody start off hot, and they're out there, they're banging their workouts out. And like, dude, I'm not saying you have to be completely chiseled, like I'm not saying that, but like, that's like the first,
But why not? But why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Who doesn't want to be fucking jacked?
I get it. But the point is, right? The point is, like, for them to start is just to start. Like, go create that habit every single day. Fucking do it.
Do it.
Fucking do it. Be that superhero for your children.
100%.
Right? But what I notice is the moment you ask deeper questions and you uncover why they are where they're at, they will, most of them will shut the fuck down. Right? Because it hurts too much and they don't understand that that's the gift. Right? So what they do is now they start avoiding it. Right? So all this bullshit, right, that we all have, that we all feel, that wants to hold us back, that weak fucking Eric Rock in the middle of an airport. I get it. I fucking get it. I'm that way every single day until I'm not.
You need
fucking every day.
You need systems and processes to get you out of your own way. Like, nobody, this is the beauty when you look under the hood. No, like, you think, oh, they must be born with that. So that's your excuse to not level up and be the person you need to be. It has the potential to achieve that type of greatness. You have to do the work, and it's systems and processes. Nobody is a superhero, but you have to have a superhero mindset. And like that $1 million mindset is so crucial. It happens here long before it happens here. It doesn't, if it doesn't translate here, it'll never translate here, but there's an in-between part, and that is the repetitions. You have to do the fucking reps. And if you don't do the reps, magic will never happen in your life. You'll never build momentum.
I would say
there's very few.
Go ahead, Shawn.
No, Matt, please.
Oh, I was going to say, as Eric talks about his systems and processes, I definitely feel it. If I don't walk early in the morning, do my fitness thing, I'm off. But probably for me, the biggest thing I notice is if I don't carve out quiet time for prayer and meditation, and everybody has their unique morning routine. Some people it's gratitude, some people it's journeying. If I don't do that, that voice in my mind is at the helm for the day.
Oh,
like
that inner critic.
yeah, like it's not so much like an inner critic. It's almost like my weak self-will. It's when I tune in prayerfully and meditate and I ask for guidance for the day and for my life, and I retouch into what I would characterize as like the presence of God in my life. Man, there's a willingness, a courage. It immediately helps me step away from those limiting thoughts, and it's almost like it just lifts me up. And I love Eric's message about that. Like, have the humility. So this is teeing up a question for you, Shawn. Like, I love, in essence, what I hear Eric saying is like, have a humility to respect your human nature and build in systems and processes to counteract it. My central one happens to be like prayer, meditation in the morning. What has been most pivotal for you, Shawn, in terms of keeping you on track?
Yeah, so I'm an athlete by nature, right? So if I don't get a workout in that day, I love to do it in the morning, but sometimes like I just don't get it done first thing in the morning, and those are my worst days. Those are the worst days because, for me, that is the level set. For me, that is starting the day doing something productive. That's my meditation time. I believe in active meditation. I know it's a thing. I also believe I need to, do some silent meditation. But for me, when I'm in the gym and I'm listening to a podcast or I'm listening to music, whatever it is that I'm listening to, that's my time to think. That's my time to like, what do I want out of this day? Where did I fall short yesterday? Who can I impact today? Who needs me? What conversations do I need to have today? Right. And for me, like moreover, how can I get better? Like, how does that weak fucking version of Shawn become just a little bit stronger for tomorrow? Right. I want that weak version of Shawn to be stronger every day because I don't believe it's going to stay the same. If it's going to stay the same, that means I'm losing. So for me, getting up in the morning and getting a workout in. And if it's not in the morning, like getting that workout in through the day, like keeping my fucking word to myself that I'm actually moving forward and putting in the work to achieve my fucking ultimate like dream body. I'm sorry. It fucking matters to me. And for the first time, Eric, to your point, like, why not? Now it fucking matters to me. Before it didn't. Before it didn't. I don't need to be, 10%. I just need to be 15% body fat. I'm fine. No, fuck that. I'm
Thank you. Someone say,
why not?
Why don't we add some statistics? Let's add some statistics here. There's 22 just under 22 millionaires in America. Now that for most people is the holy grail. But you know what's even more rare than 22 million millionaires in the United States? There's not even 3 million people in a country with almost just under 400 million people now in America. There's not even 3 million people that have a set of abs that are seeable, that are visible abs on your stomach. Like, if you can't win that first, like I remember when I first started hearing some of these stats and I'm like, fuck man, like I'm like in the top 0.001%. Like, do you know what I mean? When it comes to one thing that I had to earn that you can't buy, money can't buy health. There's one thing that money cannot buy. And I was able to put a set of abs on my fucking body, and I'm almost 40 years old. And I've had abs my entire life. Even when I was 200 pounds and like stocky jacked, like I always have a set of abs. But it's because the discipline of my life resonates through the cells in my body. My body tells the truth about me. There's certain things you can't lie about. When you show up, your body and your energy tells the world a story. Now, most people would be more satisfied they're satisfied enough with just the 22 million millionaires. So for me, that's not enough. Like, I want to be the jacked fucking millionaire because that is such a rare combination. Now you put these two things together. 22 million millionaires in America, just under 3 million people with visible abs in America. Well, how many of those 22 million millionaires have visible abs? You start getting into some of these abstract places, but it's like, why the fuck not? Now, this is just a sort of a vague illusion of something that really probably doesn't matter, but it does fucking matter. I will challenge that notion. If you have abs, you're doing something different than the rest of the fucking 330 million people in America. Like, you're doing something rest of the 99%. And this is what I always challenge you. Like, if you want to be the 1%, you have to think like the 1%. You have to eat like them, breathe them. But if you want to be the 0.0001 of the 1%, you have to take shit to a whole new level. Every domain of your life needs to be fucking just well thought out, well structured, well disciplined. You need systems and processes for every part of your life that may be a little bit chaotic. Like, you see how people move through life, and then you can really impact. Only then, when you get your shit straight, when there's no holes through you, can you go out and change the world. People want to change the world, And the market sees right fucking through them. They're con artists. They're liars. They're scammers. Their body tells a story long before any words come out of your mouth. Everything about you has got to embody the truth. And that's one thing that's undeniable. Take your shirt off. And that tells the truth. How fucking disciplined are you? Take your shirt off. You got bitch tits or what?
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this thought, right? It's like if we're not controlling that one aspect, that's the most controllable thing. That is the only controllable thing. It's, your body and how you walk into a room tells everything about you.
Exactly.
And for me, I'm just fucking done with it. Yeah. I'm fucking over it.
Society's trying to tell you it's okay. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, you see the marketing campaigns, like how they're pushing average on everyone. Average should be your biggest fucking thing you're the most scared of. You should be scared as fuck as average. Average should be the thing that you are running so far from. Like, be different. Be the 1%. Be the 0.01 of the 1%.
You guys have probably seen these, like, footage of the 50s and 60s, these high school boys doing their fitness routine. And they're just, and we have a local story for this, and they're just jacked. Like, you see 100 high school boys go through this fitness routine. I forget the school. It was based out of California, LaSalle,
in the 1950s.
Yeah, 1950s. And they're just jacked. So I know locally some people who have created a classical academy, a private school. And they're actually in serious talks on the board to make it a prerequisite to even come to the school of a fitness level.
Fuck
and
yeah.
Then every kid is going to have to go through this, like, it's like this Greek,
I love it.
This Greek Spartan routine. It's like very classical education.
That's so
Imagine every
awesome.
daughter, every son that goes to this classical academy. And here's the thing, I know I'm friends with the guys on the board, and they're like, this is going to set our school apart for donors. You know how inspiring that is? Like, my kids.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys, why don't we start a school? We'll call it the School of Hard Rocks.
Hard rocks. I mean, and the beauty of the program is they even have colored shorts.
Great.
Like in the 1950s program that they're modeling this after, they have colored shorts. So if you're at base level, some just stay at base level, and that's been erased from society, any sort of ranking or hierarchy, and then you get different colored shorts if you could do like 1,000 push-ups or whatever it is. But I love.
That's fucking cool.
It is cool.
It is. We're in different times. We are in different times. It's like poo-pooed upon to aim for excellence.
Yeah, but think about it.
You're made
It's
wrong
like
if you aim for excellence.
Trophy era, man.
But your competition is getting weaker. Like, if you're smart, you should be able to leverage the fuck out of all these sheep that are literally just getting more unhealthy. They're getting more soft. They're becoming bigger victims. Like, the victim mentality that is crippling freedom is actually could be the thing that propels you to the top even faster. But it doesn't mean you could skip any steps. It just means when you look around, instead of like 8 out of 9 guys having fucking, maybe comparable bodies, like, you're actually like 2 out of the fucking 10 that actually is literally like 5 steps ahead, where everyone used to kind of be average as a 16-year-old boy. Now you might be one of the few guys that like is already on to the next. If you compare that with a non-victim mindset, like, your capacity to move through life and fucking find win after win after win, it only gets better and easier if everyone else is doing the same fucking thing and they're falling victims to participation trophies. Like, why not number one? Like, where did this become a bad thing? Like, when did this happen? Like, winning is literally the gift of life, and it's failure that gets you there. It's failure that's like actually the win.
That's the problem, though, man. They can't connect the fact that the failure is the fucking win. Yeah. That's the gift. Just like with the suffering, our story, our shame, our guilt, everything that we're going through, and we come out on top is somebody else's fucking survival guide. Yeah. Like, period, end of story. But there's too many people shutting down the fact that I don't want to try that because I don't want to fail. Do you know how many consultation calls I've had for someone that says, hey, I want to build a show as fucking great as yours? I said, let's see what the fuck you're made of.
Let's go. You got to start.
Let's hop on a call. Yep. And as soon as, we talk about like, I want to do that. Like, this is the fucking best part. This is the fucking best part. And I'm only saying it's annoying because I've put in the work with these 2 hands. I don't have anybody helping me. I don't have an investor. I don't have a partner doing this. I don't have anything. I have fucking me. Period. I built it, and people laughed at it at the beginning. Now I was in the fucking room with Bedros Keuilian.
Yes. Yeah. Having
a conversation with
Shawn,
him.
How's your little podcast doing?
Yeah, how's that fucking going for you, right?
I get that, man. Good for you.
Fucking get the fuck
Punch
out.
back.
So the thing is, here's the deal. When you get down to the point of like, it's time to act, well, I wasn't looking to invest that kind of money.
Yeah.
Then you don't fucking.
Can I chime in on
every
this?
day. I see that every
I have
day.
to chime in on this as a former therapist. I'm a life business coach now, but as a therapist, you nailed it, Shawn. Like in terms of people, the moment you cast an aim to be number one, like Eric says, a lot of people are fearful even to hold in mind number one. But
Yeah,
it's
you say that.
a lot of people they'll be fearful to cast a high aim because they can't handle their own self-condemnation the moment they're going to inevitably have a misstep or fail.
Right.
So I really feel like, you know,
good point.
as a father is raising kids, and this applies to adults, is like having sufficient compassion and understanding that you're fallible, you're going to be loaded with mistakes, you're going to fail. You have enough compassion for that so that you could summon the courage to begin again, because all the narcissistic literature on narcissism, here's what narcissists do. I'll just throw this on the table. Here's how a narcissist goes after goals. They'll go for the highest one on the planet. They'll start, they'll fail, and then because their sense of self is so attached with perfection, they just crumble and fall apart, and they stop aiming altogether. Like they just withdraw. The healthy young person, they go for a high goal. They start, they fail. It's painful, but they recalibrate. They forgive themselves. They learn something, and they begin anew.
But it doesn't stop their aim.
It doesn't stop their aim. They
don't
recalibrate it. They recalibrate it. They might make it less grandiose and bring it here, but then they won't wallow in guilt. They won't wallow in shame.
They don't blame people.
They don't blame people. They will have transitory disappointment. We're all human. Like, man, I didn't hit it, but they don't narcissistically wallow in it because their identity isn't in the behavior. It's just staying on course. Yeah. That's probably the biggest thing. Like one thing I admire about Eric as a partner, he's always on course. It's like his identity isn't so much the failure of the day. And it's something I aspire to, is like, just stay on course. Keep going. I think one of the biggest barriers is people, they fear their own savage self-condemnation. So they just avoid it altogether.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not going to aim high because they can't handle it. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I mean,
you were just
laying
out an example of it.
I mean, I think everybody is just afraid of the shame part. You know, it's a great question, and when people start aiming for something really, really big, they talk themselves out of it for the fear of, what are people going to think about me? What am I going to think about me? And you know what? Fuck it. This is just stupid anyway. Who am I to think that I could do something like this? Right.
Justification.
Like, who the fuck? Who am I? Right? Like, I'm just some fucking asshole from California, and you know, I have nothing going for me other than, you know, I was able to throw a baseball once. You know what I learned, and when I started to move, was like, I'm just sick and tired of being mediocre.
Right.
I was a great sales professional, you know, doing great in corporate sales, but I knew I went through this journey of 75 hard, you know, the July of the first year of COVID, you know, all that fucking mess. We're in lockdown, can't get into the OR. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just beat myself up, figure myself out. I want to get in shape. What I learned was I was really frustrated and angry with my life because I wasn't the best version of myself. So I started raising the bar to a point where people are saying like, hey, you need to go on a podcast cleanse. Don't listen to more podcasts. Don't listen to any self-development. Don't do anything because you're getting frustrated. I'm like, so what I did was I doubled down on the podcasts. I doubled down on the personal development because I want to listen to that bullshit fucking advice. So then what happened is the Determined Society was born. That's when I found my fucking purpose, by sitting in a pool of my own piss, wondering what the fuck I was going to do next. Thinking like, why couldn't have I invented shoelaces?
Yeah.
Like, stupid thoughts would go into my mind. Like, why didn't I invent the like plastic things on the shoelaces? Like, I would never have to worry about money. And then I'm thinking like, what are you good at?
Yep.
You're relatively good at conversations. And so I started having them, and I started recording podcasts, and they fucking sucked, man. They sucked until they didn't. And it was just like having great conversations with people filled my soul to a point where like, wait a second, that conversation might help somebody.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got to keep doing them, you know, and I got to get better at the post-production. I got to get better at all this shit. But I didn't sit in that what am I going to do next thing. Now I know, right? Now I know what's coming.
Yes.
It's just a matter of when.
So good. So much gold here. I was going to ask you, I just keep thinking we're hitting on all these pieces of gold, but like if me, you and Matt, we're going to lay out to the audience right now, and our time's starting to cap here. But like, what is the number one thing that's holding people back? I feel like that's like a question that's constantly circulating around. I think we probably alluded to 100 things in this conversation, and any one of them could actually be probably the number one. But let's do that. Like, all of us are going to say what we think the number one thing holding people back is, because that does seem to be the foundational question for how do I get unstuck? How do I break through? How do I make this happen? But like, okay, so what's holding you back? So go for it, man. If you had to narrow it down into like sort of some singular thoughts about what's holding people back, I'll let you start. And if you say what I was going to say, I'll move mine to the next 25 things that are the actual thing.
Yeah, I just believe it's the thought process on who the fuck you think you are and what you can achieve or not.
Self-belief.
Like, self-belief, man.
That's a good one.
I mean,
Self-belief.
fuck.
Okay, so we got self-belief. Okay, Matt?
The number one thing holding people back, I would say they don't have a vision that moves their heart enough to wade through the transitory suffering.
Okay. So we got self-belief. We got clarity is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, it's like
they don't see it. They don't
clarity of vision that moves their heart enough, sufficient that they'd be willing to bear the price.
Yeah. It's funny, like when I started working with Ed Milet, one of the first things we did was really focused on like sort of what he calls a flood of consciousness. That's how I've adopted myself. And then he forces that flood of consciousness that really looks at your entire lifetime, and it breaks it down to what's this year look like, which is great because the flood of consciousness is just anything comes to mind. I mean, it could be dumb shit like you want to go to Europe. It doesn't matter for any person's life. I get you to just throw up on paper, blah, whatever comes out. Like we really get to see that really gives me a clear perspective. And we narrow it down with some Power 12 goals, and then we get really in depth with the goal of like, okay, well, people say they have goals, but they have no clarity about those goals. But I found even that most people don't even have that many goals, and their goals are really vague and low. They're not filled with clarity. They don't have standards attached to them. They don't have any disciplines attached to them. They don't have resources attached to them. They don't have mini goals within those bigger goals attached to them. There's no timelines. There's no pressure, which timelines create pressure. That's why I love death bringing in everything, because it creates a clock of everything. But the point is this, Matt, to your point of clarity, that may seem to the average person, it might go right over the head. But you start getting your fucking most 12 powerful things you're going to do next year, most people just get stuck on number 3.
It's the hardest question to answer.
It is hard. And I'll say another thing. If you were going to build this building that we're in right now, we're in this beautiful studio in this really sick fucking building. Like you are going to need literally a fucking 1,000 man hours of plans. You're going to need electrical plans. You're going to need plumbing plans. You're going to need foundational plans. Like you can't construct any building without detailed set of plans and engineering and architecture and analysis. And then you need worker bees that that have skills and crafts that can put it all together. But if you don't have the clarity to plan to build these buildings, one thing I do now everywhere I go, I'm like, fuck, someone built that, someone built that, someone built that. And it instantly gets me out of my own way. I'm like, I should stop being a little bitch, because things that you think are impossible are only possible because you fucking have no good mindset attached to any of your thoughts.
You're standing on their clarity.
Exactly. You're standing on someone else's clarity. You should be thinking about blueprints everywhere you go in life, and it'll change how you communicate. It'll change how you think. So you guys just said 2 good ones. I'll give it the other one. And there's a couple that come to my mind here. I want to just slide it in, but it's not going to be my number one. Is what people think. I think what the fear of what other people think just holds you back. Yeah, like acceptance, all that. One. But I think the number one. Okay, for me, Eric Rock. Woo, action. People just don't take action. They have a thought and they never turn it into a thing.
But here's the caveat to that. Why aren't they taking action? Yeah. It could be like all these things to me are number one reasons.
All of them.
Why people don't fucking take action.
It's all relative.
And it's so different for everybody else, right? It is so different. Someone could think like, hey, I have a speech impediment. I can't put a video out. So that self-belief,
I can't.
Right? They can't. They're afraid of what people think.
Yep. All that.
So they have no
it all plays.
action.
Yeah, it all plays together.
But here's the truth.
That's why it's so
They're all
beautiful.
the same thing, actually.
The truth of the speech impediment thing is a great example because it hits so many of these things. The truth is, if someone with a speech impediment created a channel and they had nothing but earnest, sincere love and willingness, people would love them.
Yeah, and
my God.
There's this trained follower channel out of the UK. He has like 5 million views. And he's kind of this autistic kid who he's not very attractive.
Right.
And he's kind of impaired. but he's got this great heart and he loves these trains.
Oh.
People love him. He's got like a 5 million follower channel.
Man. It's right there.
Because he, like Eric said, he doesn't care about the approval. He always is posting shit.
Yes.
And he's taking action. He believes in himself despite
I love it.
how limited he appears to be, and he's slaying all the people that are more attractive.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those
This
things.
just made me think of a great thought. One of the profound whys behind, again, man on the mission, I'm sure you align with this too, Shawn, is innocence. Like, we love protecting innocence. The next podcast we have after this is all about the sound of freedom. We're doing it with Tim Boward's right-hand man, dear friend of ours. He's coming back. We've already had a great conversation on them once, but this whole idea of innocence. But when I think of innocence, it's in children. I think of animals too. Anything that's innocent. When I look into the eyes of a bird or my little chihuahua or a puppy or a kitten, or I look in the eyes of a child, I see pure innocence. It's just action, right? And one of the things that's beautiful about innocence is they don't care what people think. Innocence, if you think about it, will go pee on your leg, it'll lick you. Imagine going up to a human and sniffing their butt like a dog does. Like, dogs don't give a fuck. They're not fear of judgment.
They're
They'll let you
free.
They just are. They're free. They are. Their instincts are. They may respond to energy, but at the end of the day, like, they will get in it and not care what people think. They're not afraid to be ugly or have some goop in their eye and go talk to you when they're drooling. Maybe they have some shit in their face. Children, the same thing. They'll come right up to you and they might be just a wreck, but they're
Snot
they're just
fucking screaming, crying.
they're not considering the thoughts and feelings of others. They had to learn that from somewhere. Parents had to sort of teach the importance of that. And I think it's natural as an innocent thing turns into an adult that's less innocent. But at the end of the day, innocence is just, it is what it is, and it's not afraid of what people think. And I think that's what makes innocence so beautiful, and that's why it's so sellable, and that's why it's such an amazing thing. That's why innocence to me is God. In Mother Nature, it is God. The things that just are just so, they're worth protecting though. It needs guys like you. I think we should just cap, because this conversation could take a huge leap, right? But it needs more Shawn Frenches in the world. We have got to challenge you guys to, like, step up to the plate, find your fucking voice, and really put energy into the universe to make society a better place. And our children and innocence is requiring us to do that. It's a fucking obligation.
Stand for innocence and own your own innocence. Your own innocence to play. Like, let it go. Like, stand for it, defend it, but let it out.
Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and fucking go for it. Like, bleed, 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 bleed.
Love it, man. Like, it's such a great conversation, guys. Thank you so much. And you're right, man. Just fucking go.
Thank you, Shawn.
Just go. Thank you, guys.
That was
so
fun,
much.
man. We got to do this again, Shawn. I admire you, man. You're a fucking hero. Keep doing what you're doing. Gas pedal down. Let's fucking go.
I'm a man on a mission.